ABC, American-born Chinese. I think it's time for you guys to consider move back to China.
I came across this creator on my For You page on TikTok and I love his content.
Hello, Maga. Do you have eggs in your home? Do you have toilet paper in your home? Oh, you still have it. Wait a few weeks. By the way, this high-quality toilet paper in China, only $2.
He's amazing. He's always going harsh on Americans, but this time he went harsh on Chinese. And he told them, go back to your country.
ABC, American-born Chinese. I think it's time for you guys to consider move back to China. Back in 1980s or 90s, your grandparents or parents moved to Europe or United States, these kind of countries. Makes sense because back then China was just rebuilt from the war. China cannot compete with Europe or United States. But now it's completely changed, like opposite, you know. So now it's for you guys to do the make sense move, the smart move. I know you guys been through a lot of mental abuse growing up in that society, but some of you don't even dare to admit you are Chinese. You have to say, oh, I'm American, I'm not Chinese, something like that. It's pathetic, but I hope you can heal after you move back to China. Right now you are banana, outside is yellow, inside is white. But come back to China, learn some Chinese wisdom. If you compete wisdom, China will always win. But if you compete evilness, the West will always win.
Okay, with that being said, allow me to be a bit personal with you guys. Can you tell us one of the reasons you left China? If you're sitting right here and you're watching this video and you're a Chinese living abroad, just tell us honestly, why did you leave your country? Because I came across a creator who never mentioned about poverty, but he said I had to leave China because of the toughness of the education system. I couldn't see myself on top. But when I went to America, I was like, yeah, the top. Yeah. So why did you leave your country? You have different reasons why you left China, but right now we are seeing so many foreigners praising this country. China is lead, China is safe, China, and from the mouth of a foreigner, I heard this.
When people start investing in the Chinese economy, it's game over. Like, because their economy is built on actual, real economics. They're making things that you can touch with your hands. And they're also making digital infrastructure. TikTok came out, and that came from China. That came from the data of hundreds of millions of Chinese users. They unleashed this a version of it for the world, and it changed the world. Well, I mean, why does the Xiaomi electric Porsche cost $40,000 and the actual Porsche, the European beautiful design, beautiful manufacturing, costs $200,000? But the Xiaomi one is actually performing just as well. What is like?
Because the Chinese people and their whole system has mastered manufacturing. And
I went to an automated EV factory in Beijing, and this was a state-owned factory. It was Beijing Auto, and they collaborated with a private company who designed the car, and they manufacture it. And this thing was like 95% automated. All of the workers were just like sitting around like I am, like playing on their phones and stuff.
Right.
And they had just stacks of the shells of the cars.
In order to crank out the cars at the volume that these people are cranking
they have to know what they're doing. Yeah, that's the thing that Americans don't understand. They say that China copies Western technology and innovation, but China's doing more of it, and that is technology and innovation. If you look at a Chinese factory, the whole scheme of it, from the way the workers got their education, how they live, how the business like helps them with their lunches and helps them with their housing and all this stuff, to the way that they're all integrated technologically into the working environment, to the logistics of shipping the supplies and shipping the products and this and that. Like every single little detail of the whole society that is allowing China to manufacture their quote unquote stolen technologies at a rate thousands of times better than the West could ever dream of.
Yes.
That is their innovation, that is their technology. And there's a reason why they are doing it and we can't crack that code. Basically, this thing is happening right now that's never before happened in history. It is better to be rich in a socialist country than it is to be rich here in the United States, in the center of the capitalist world.
Why?
Because they just invest their money way better in infrastructure, in their people, in education,
having a better life.
Yeah,
if
like
you are rich. If let's say you are a billionaire,
even a millionaire.
Dude, listen.
I bought a ticket same day, high-speed rail from one city to another.
Right.
I just showed up at the train station like 15 minutes before the train leaves. So maybe it was like 25 minutes, whatever. I got there a little bit early so I could go to the business class lounge. It was like $35 for a business class ticket. They give me like a little sign I put on the table, and I didn't know what it was for. A guy in a suit comes and picks me up from the lounge and takes me into the train, like ahead of the line and the queues and everything, into the seats. And it's like getting into a spaceship.
Yes.
And there's so much leg room. And it's safe. There's room for your bags. It's smooth. It's way less turbulent, way safer than flying. And it's all green, renewable energy.
No shit. The other thing is the people who are devoted.
Here's the thing I didn't understand about China until I really spent time there and like went to the rural areas, saw how things were being built.
Yes.
Was that we pay like 60% profit margins. To when we're buying anything, when you're buying like materials, when you're paying for labor, you have to pay for the rent for that laborer's apartment. And that is just getting jacked up every year. There's like so much extra cost put into every single thing you buy here. In China, over half of their economy is state-owned enterprises now. And that profit is just 100% taxed, and it gets reinvested immediately into the economy. So I'm going to see the rural villages, and I'm meeting with some fans of mine who built like, you know, all of these amazing amenities for this rural village of 100 farming families. And they have a calligraphy studio, a painting museum. They have a tea house with a museum preserving the village's history. They have brand new public restrooms that look nicer than any public restroom I've seen in New York City, with like tons of space and skylights. They have a river walk, and they were complaining to me a little bit. They were like, yeah, you know, we built all this and it just took so long.
So
it took them 9 months. How is this possible? How can the government afford to help these poor farming people? And then it hit me that like, oh, they're making like tiny profit margins off of every little transaction because they have a market of 1.4 billion people, and they've centralized a lot of these industries and made it like so efficient that instead of having like a few million customers, a few thousand customers, they have like 100 times as many customers, and they're building way more than we are.
With that being said, don't you think that it could be a good idea for you to look into this idea? Like, if you've been in your country a while back, if you went to your country like 5-10 years ago, don't you think that it's time that you revisit? Because you things that are happening in these foreign lands, I don't think it's safe anymore for foreigners. Allow me to say that. Because what we are seeing is astonishing. Immigrant turning into how do they call them? If you could wake up one day and find yourself alien in a country where you are educated, you started off your life and you lose everything, don't you think that it could be a good idea that you consider such ideas?
I'm going back to China again, but for only 3 weeks this time. Last time I was in China was earlier this year, and I stayed there for around 5 months. This time, I'm going back mostly for a business trip related to my job. I'm actually taking a few Canadian clients back to visit my hometown. Very, very exciting. My China experience last time was pretty life-changing. It opened my eyes to the opportunities over there. And it's kind of ironic and funny because I'm actually from China. But I just have been in the echo chamber of North America for too long without paying close attention to how fast things are moving in my motherland. And it made me want to have a career between the East and West, becoming a bridge. And now that's literally what I'm doing. I work in marketing for a major Chinese construction manufacturer here in Canada. And on the side, I'm also doing some freelance work, helping Western brands grow on Chinese social media platforms like Renault, Douyin, WeChat, all of that. So if you're a North American company trying to reach the Chinese-speaking market, hit me up. Anyway, I'll be in China from the last week of November until the second week of December. I'll be making a lot of videos while I'm there, obviously. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. I'll be visiting Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Beijing. So if you're an entrepreneur or a content creator in any of those cities, drop a comment. Let's link.
Have an international business. Move around, like think outside the box. And for you, thinking outside the box will be thinking inside the box, because this is your country. You're a mainlander. Have you heard, if you've watched my previous video, have you seen how many people would want to settle in your country who are foreigners? They would want to settle there, but things are not easy. But I believe that since China is your mainland, the process could be easier for you. So I don't know what you think about this. Let me leave you with this clip.
I give up a green card and move back to China for this. For a home in China, you don't need to pay any property tax. For high-speed internet, only $10 per month, with the phone bills altogether. For $10, cover all the electricity, gas, and water for myself living in this 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. Because I see through what really capitalism is. Capitalism sucks. And this is my home. The government is not gonna take your home away just because you don't pay property tax. They do not take property tax. One day they need the land. They won't take it back. They will pay me a lot of money so I can get a new home, better home. Having a home to live in is basic human rights in China. And yes, there's no homeless in China, period. And this home, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, only $60,000 US to own it, buy it off. Having affordable housings and affordable daily needs, fresh meat, fresh vegetable, fresh fruits are basic human rights in China.
This question, why do you leave your home country if you love it so much? I got that a lot. There's really no good response to it because they're not expecting a response anyway. It's not a question. It's a statement. They want you to acknowledge that China is bad. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. They want to hear that. If you can't give that answer, no answer is is adequate. So we can ignore this kind of question. And from my personal experience, I only get that question online, like stranger. Never in my life, in person, somebody will ask me that question. It's too condescending. It's just, because common sense will tell you, Italian immigrant love Italian. Greek immigrant love Greek. Nobody will have problem with that. The people who have problem with Chinese loving China, it is because they have problem with China. They want us to acknowledge that China is bad as he thinks it is. But to us, yes, China has problem, but generally it's good. I mean, in our opinion, there's no country better than China. Who has a longer history? Who has a more peaceful presence in throughout history? And who did more work, like improve the whole population's living condition? Like from that direction, China is doing a fantastic job. I mean, my own experience, my family was one of the poorest family in China, and I end up going to the best university in China and eventually come abroad, and that's the product of China. I am a product of China, and everybody use product made in China. All the negative things, I don't know where it comes from. So, but I do know mass media just feed so many negative image into ordinary people, like people who have never contact China or Chinese. So I think, personally, I think that actually give us some mission. Like we have to present China truthfully, because mass media are not doing that. So we have to do that. Whenever we have chance, present China truthfully. Yes, China has problem, a lot of problem. However, China has a lot of good things, whether it's historical, whether it's ongoing, whether it's represented by people in China or people overseas. We have to present that truthfully, because China is a wonderful country.
I hope this video is beneficial to you. Thank you so much for watching to this extent. I hope you've learned something beneficial. Yeah, share your thoughts in the comment section. How did you find this compilation? This is Comfort for Life. As usual, I'm back, and let's do this together. You can as well support me through the thank button. I would want to do a lot, but sometimes I disappear because there are things I would want to put together, but still, guys, support me. I appreciate you. Thank you for your support so far.